All right. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I've got my camera on for just a minute for introduction, so hopefully you guys can see me. But I'm Tracy Grzybowski. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Omnipress. And I'd like to introduce my co-presenters today, our Digital Product Director, Paul Baldridge,
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you're logging in from.
and Erin Ryan, one of our extremely talented and fabulous project managers.
Hello.
And we're here today to share tips to help save time and streamline the process of conducting a call for abstracts and presenters. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this webinar is being recorded, and so we will share a copy of it after the fact, and it's also going to be available on demand on our website, omnipress.com, under our resources section. And then before we get started, I just wanted to provide a quick reminder for those of you that may not be as familiar with Omnipress of all of the services we provide for events of all types, in-person, hybrid, and virtual. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn off my computer, my camera, just because I don't want it to be too terribly distracting while we're going through the presentation. I wanted to let you guys know too that if you have any questions, feel free to ask those anytime. You can just type them into the question box in GoToWebinar. Now, why are we talking about this today? In talking with our friends and customers in the events industry, we hear all the time how time crunched folks are, and this was the case as it was before anyway, and now it's even more so than usual. And there's really two primary reasons for this. I think we're all feeling the effects of the Great Resignation, and a lot of our customers are trying to do the same amount of work or more with fewer team members, which essentially puts more work on their plate. I think we're hearing a lot, and Erin, I'm sure you're hearing all the time. We hear from folks that say, yeah, last time we did this event, I had a team of 7, and now there's just 2 of us. So hopefully, or hopefully not, but that may sound very familiar to a lot of you. And complicating matters even more is the fact that we're living in a hybrid world now. So even as more in-person events come back, some participants still want virtual access to that content, whether it's live or on demand, which means that's a whole nother piece of the event that these meeting planners also have to manage, again, with fewer staff. So knowing how important it is to source and select the best speakers and content for your conference, because after all, that's basically where the conference begins, we wanted to show you some of the features of our Catalyst abstract management software that were designed specifically to help you save time, while also sharing tips from Erin in particular, who works with customers every day on this. She's going to share tips on some things you can do to run a more efficient process. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
Thank you, Tracy. So time saving. The biggest time saving feature that we offer isn't a product feature at all. In fact, it's that every customer is assigned a dedicated project manager like Erin, who is joining us on our webinar today, who not only handles the entire setup of your Catalyst abstract management site for you, but also provides best practices, suggestions, and guidance along the way. Erin, could you tell everyone how many customers you've worked with in the past, the various types
Oh,
of events that you've managed, and what kind of work you support to provide your customers?
yeah. I mean, I definitely work with a lot of associations, engineers, medical facilities, teachers, educators, kind of the whole gamut. Some of the events are like a year long, where they've got a first round, is a first review, a draft round, a draft review, then a final round and a final review, and all along the way during the complete collection site cycle, there's going to be a lot of touch points that are going to be with me and the client. I will reach out and say, hey, we're getting close to close. Why don't we run a report and, see what we want to do next? What are the next steps? We build all the rounds for the clients. Most of my clients, we send out all the emails for them. So maybe accept and reject emails that go to the authors, things like that. So it's definitely a lot of hands-on that the project management team does here at Omnipress.
Excellent. Sounds like it keeps you very busy, Erin.
Yes.
Next, we're going to be talking about the home page. So this is the actual starting point of the submission. So you as the customer determine what content you want on the home page, but usually this is the place to feature items such as the submission process, any criteria that you have outlined, and then as well as guidelines. And so with the home page, Erin, I'm hoping that you can share your knowledge on this topic as well.
Sure. Yeah, the homepage is very important. This kind of has the person self-selecting where they want to go, right? So we can put several types of collections right on the homepage and information about those collections. For example, some of my clients have a poster collection and an oral collection. So right on the homepage, they're going to get to read the guidelines and the data about those two separate collections. And there will be two separate links. So they're, if they're like, oh, I'm definitely, I'm not a public speaker. I want to go to the event, but I'm only going to be able to do a poster. They can click on create new submission right under the poster section. And obviously on the flip side, maybe they have a really good presentation. Then instead they'd click on that oral collection. So it's a great place for event organizers to really give people the exact data that they want them to see. Because what happens is if you don't give them data, people will have a ton of questions, which of course, as you know, can be a major time suck when you're trying to plan an event. If you've got all these questions from people trying to get into this collection site and they don't know what they're doing, well, let's put it all on the homepage so that people aren't confused and we really cut down on those questions and emails and in some cases phone calls. So definitely helpful.
Sounds good, thank you. Next is the dashboard. The dashboard allows you to quickly, at a glance, see a snapshot of submissions and reviews and where folks are in the submission and review process. So if you take a look at the screen, we can see we have 87 submissions that are in the pipeline, and then those are the various stages to where those submissions are at. So you have submitted, in progress, not started, and withdrawn. The same can be said for reviews. So we have 282 reviews in this particular bucket. And then if you take a look to the right of that dashboard, you can see we have 11 that are completed, we have 9 incomplete, 261 that have not even started, and 1 that is in an ineligible status. So this is the area also where it can be used to drill down further by accessing and running reports. So right above the reviews, you can see messaging, and right above submissions, you can see reports. So that allows you one click to get to those other features within Catalyst for your collection. Erin, is there any additional thoughts or tips on the dashboard that you'd like to share?
Yeah, definitely. So every submitter, reviewer, and what we call event managers in regards to Catalyst. So event managers are going to be your the folks that the project manager works with, kind of on a daily, weekly basis. Within that, we can also give people a specific role. So say that you've got some kind of higher important people, right? Maybe some chair folks. Well, they don't need access to those quick buttons when it comes to maybe schedule and messaging, but we want them to have access to those quick buttons that are collections and reports, right? So again, you're cutting down time on this dashboard because we're giving them exactly what they want to see. If you're a full-blown event manager, this is a great place to come to see exactly what's going on in the system. So as a submitter, you're going to get that little My Submissions bank. You're also going to get My Summary on the right. Another quick area is the notifications. So a lot of times submitters/authors will reach out and they'll say, I didn't get that email. Well, you may not have gotten that email, but it certainly lives on your dashboard right under that notifications panel. So just by clicking view all. So again, it really cuts down on questions from not only submitters and reviewers, but also internal questions that an event manager may think to ask me, well, they can just come to the dashboard and either get to those quick areas with the buttons, or just look right here. You've got 87 submissions and 20 are submitted, so again, it cuts down on the questions that again, going back to the time suck, that can really cut that down. So it's a great one-stop shop.
Excellent, definitely a time saver indeed. Next, we're going to discuss the configurable forms within Catalyst. So every Catalyst site starts off essentially as a blank slate. In fact, there's only one tab when we initially start a Catalyst site, and it's titled New Tab. So each client determines the questions to ask, in what order those questions are asked, and in what format. We can also offer other items such as different file types to collect from your submitters. Our forms and fields are configurable to your submission and review requirements, and they can include some powerful conditional logic rules so submitters and reviewers see only fields that are relevant to them. Erin, how does this help customers save time? And do you happen to have an example?
Yeah, definitely. This is one of my favorite areas to talk about. I know there's a lot of companies out there that you get a template and that's it. And basically, if you don't fit into that template, well, then, your submitters and reviewers are going to be in a constant confusion. So great thing about this with being able to build logic is we keep people siloed. We keep them in the right path. We don't want a poster submitter, for example, to have a PowerPoint, not a PowerPoint, have a presentation upload field when it's not even required for a poster submitter. So by building the logic, we keep people in the right lane or down the right path. It also cuts down on outputs. We can break data right on the form into smaller pieces instead of smashing it all together. And then you run a report and you're like, oh, now I got to separate everything. We have the ability to be able to collect those pieces in a smaller way. As Paul said, we can do upload files, multiple choice, radio buttons, photos. I mean, you name it, we can add it. We have a great video uploading tool where it's right on the form. You can record a video right from there, and it keeps you in Catalyst, so you're not popping out and getting very confused. A good example of some logic that we built for one of my clients is they have English, Portuguese, and Spanish submitters. So when the project came to me, I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be really interesting. So what we did is we started that logic right away. So the minute they get to that first page when they're just about to start filling out their submission, we ask them a question. Which language do you prefer? And we ask them in 3 different languages. We ask them to answer that question. And the answer, we have it configured as well to each language. Now, what's great about that is, so if they answer Portuguese, the entire rest of the submission process is in Portuguese. It's not in English. And then obviously for your English submitters and your Spanish submitters, they get to see their language. So it's really a powerful, really a cool tool that I pretty much use in all my collection sites that I built. There's some sort of logic that we put in play. So it's a great tool.
Well, thank you for that example. I think that's the first time I've heard about that particular customer with the 3 different languages. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Within Catalyst, there's built-in reports. You get the exact data you want to see. So this allows you to use this data to quickly and easily segment messages based on statuses and send those messages via the messaging tool. You can also use reports to pinpoint reviewers who aren't done and then send reminder emails to them, having them come back in to complete their review process or assignment. So really what it boils down is the reports and messaging is really sending the right message to the correct audience. That is the actual goal of these 2 features. Now, This also allows you to spend less time tracking down incomplete submissions and incomplete reviews. And another nice benefit of the messaging is you can pre-schedule or queue messages that would then be sent out on a certain date and time, and it would automatically scan the system to see anybody that falls into that bucket and then send the messages out to have them act on a task. Or you can send messages at your convenience. Erin, can you share any additional information about reports and messaging?
Yeah, you bet. So reports is another great tool. The good thing about it is once you create a report, it's there until it physically gets deleted, right? So if you want to keep up with your submitted submissions, you're going to use the filters that are the readiness state is submitted. And then that report is built. And you, like I said, you can run it anytime. You can run it on the weekends, whenever you want. The reports are easily editable as well. So if you need to change something there, you can quickly do it. Event managers and admin have access to all the reports at any time. Another great feature, as Paul kind of talked about, is, we really want to make sure to pull in the right data into the right message. So for example, if we're sending out from the system accept and reject emails, and we're giving them specific data to them. So maybe there's a specific time they're going to present at, in a specific room they're going to present at, and a date, and maybe they are going to do a speaker presentation versus a poster presentation. All those items we can pull into the back end of the system, and we can either advertise or hide it right on the form, but we can pull that data into those emails. So you're giving people a very specific message. You're not wasting time and sending all this general information to your poster and oral presenters when really the information in the email is very specific to oral. So why am I including poster people on this email? Again, we have this great ability to use mail merge tools and placeholders to put very specific information in those emails, and of course, tie them to the report so that we're sending them to the correct people. There is no point in reminding submitters or reviewers that they're not done with their submission or their review when we don't want to send it to people that are done. We want to target those people that aren't done. So that is a great way to do it, is building that report, which takes a minute at the most, and tying it to that email. Then that's how that works, and it's a great tool.
And Erin, one thing I just wanted to jump in with quickly too that I think is really interesting is obviously the relationship between the forms, the configurable forms, and reports. Because one thing I know that I hear is just how much time meeting planners spend on data cleanup on the back end. And so obviously you want to make sure that your forms are set up in a way with the data set up in a very specific way so that you don't have to clean up those reports, or you don't have to clean up that data after the fact.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
Great stuff. Thank you. I could also only speculate that the messaging tool is going to alleviate a lot of emails going into an individual event planner's personal or work email.
Yes, definitely. We have the ability, like I said, to send messages out right from Catalyst. We can use your signature. We can put all of your data, so it's as if it's kind of coming from you. We can also set up your domain as well if you would like that. So instead of the emails coming from noreply@omnipress.com, they would then come from you. So it truly looks like the emails are coming right from the client. It's pretty great.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Yep.
Now we're moving on to the built-in scheduling builder. So the scheduling tool is used to create rooms, blocks of time, excuse me, and then activities such as submissions. It also has a built-in conflict checker which allows you to ensure there's no overlapping of a presenter, as well as double booking rooms. Once your schedule is final, you have the ability to hit the publish button in the right-hand corner of this screenshot, and then the data will sync to either a virtual event platform that Omnipress offers or to the mobile event app, which is coming very soon. And so this really helps you take the manual process. I know for a fact that some customers use Post-it notes to create the schedule, others are using spreadsheets, but with the built-in scheduling tool, it really does help take everything that's already in one system, build out that schedule, and then it allows you to push the inputs directly to an output. Erin, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that, or is that a good summary?
I mean, I think that's a great summary. Yeah, it's got, 3 different types of conflict checking. It's super intuitive once you build out your time blocks, as you can see there, add your specific presentations in, give it a color for some visual effects. And, back to those roles too, we can give specific people access to just the schedule, right? So maybe you've got some people on your team that you're like, oh, I don't want them running reports. I don't want them seeing personal information, but maybe I just want them to work on the schedule. And more than one person can work on it at the same time. So that's great too. If you've got track chairs, they're going to be responsible maybe for plotting their specific track functions here. But we don't want them to have access to the tracks that don't pertain to them. We can do that. So when they come in here, they're just getting access to the submissions within their track. It's pretty great. And again, we can pull this into the submission as well. So if you need folks to see this type of scheduling data, it doesn't come in with, these colors and things, but it's a nice bank that you can pull in, and then you can have your authors see specific scheduling data as well. Yeah, it's another great tool.
Thank you, Erin.
Yep.
Speaking of publish to the mobile app via the scheduling tool, our development team is working on integrating Catalyst with our new mobile app vendor, which should be launching later this month. As a matter of fact, this morning I received an email from our development team saying that it's being pushed to staging, so we're going to be testing that over the next couple of days, and then from there we'll be launching it to production. Now, this will be a tremendous time saver, as the educational content will be pushed from the scheduling tool directly to the event app. And you can see the example of on the right-hand side of the mobile event app, and this is the schedule. So it's really exciting. We're super excited to launch this over the next couple, probably within a week or two. And then this is going to allow your attendees using the mobile app to create their own itinerary based on that schedule. So another really time-saving capability of Catalyst with the mobile app, and then also allowing your end users that personalization.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Paul and Erin, keeping this nice and short and to the point, but hopefully you're able to take away a few ideas that you can use the next time you're getting ready to open your call for papers or presentations. That'll maybe help minimize the amount of time you spend chasing down your submitters and reviewers, or cleaning up submission data so that it can be published in the format you need, or even, building those reports. I just like to invite you, if you would like to see more of our time-saving features of Catalyst through a personalized demo, please let us know. You can get a hold of us at justask@omnipress.com or on the information you see on the screen. What I wanted to do, whoops, I clicked ahead. So question time, just wanted to give a last call. We do have a few questions that have come in. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the question bar and we will answer them right here. But for Erin and Paul, the first question we got in is, how much control do I and staff have over the system?
Yeah, that's a good question. Other than editing the form, so as in, you know, setting up those, setting up the form basically, and changing dates in the system, other than those two areas, you've got pretty much full access, all access to submissions, reviews, and all that that entails. All the reports, you can set up reports, you can send emails, you can edit any submission, you can edit reviews. So pretty much all the areas except for physically building the form and changing dates in the system.
And Erin, is it true that customers can be as hands-on as they want or off based on their needs? So if they're working on other tasks, you know, trying to get food and beverage and everything else that has to take place for the event, that's where the project manager comes in and can take all of that workload for the collection process off of them. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. We definitely want to alleviate the, you know, amount of work it can be to, you know, wrangle your reviewers, send emails out, you know, import review assignments, you know, get the round set up for the next round. You know, maybe we got to get the draft round set up. All of that can be done by your project manager to save you time and you know, sometimes stress, really.
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay. We got one. Can you clarify how many reports do you set up for me and what kind, or what do I set up myself?
Sure. For my clients, for almost all, you know, the project management team here, as far as Catalyst goes, when we set up a new collection site, pretty much we'll set up 1 or 2 reports. Now, if you've been with us in the past year or several years, when we clone your old site and start building your new, those reports come with it. So if you've got reports that, you know, were set up last year, they're going to come along for the ride. If you are a brand new customer, you start with a clean slate. So again, your project manager is probably going to set up that first initial all submissions report. There's no filters on it. It literally is going to be every single column and row of the site and all the submissions. Now, after you go through at least a 1-hour training as an event manager with your project manager, they're going to teach you how to build reports. If you're like, I don't want to build reports, I want the project manager to, that's totally fine as well. So there is no limit to how many reports you can build, and there's no limit to when you can run them or edit them or delete them. But as far as reports already built, that's going to be with our reoccurring clients. Again, your project manager is probably going to set up that first initial all submissions report.
Great. Yeah, and that actually, your answer, Erin, segues into a really great question we had, which is what sort of training do you provide on your software?
Yeah, so sometimes there's training all throughout, you know, the collection site, but we do offer at least a 1-hour training with the project manager on how to be an event manager in the site. So we're going to walk you through all those little areas, those little hot buttons we showed you on the dashboard. We'll walk you through collections, which is going to include all submissions, all the participants, so any author, co-author in the system. It's going to show you reports. It's going to show you emails and messaging. So really, we kind of walk through everything and show you exactly, you know, what kind of items or what kind of areas you have access to. We'll also give you a PowerPoint or a PDF that is our event manager guide. In case you have any questions, you're more of a person that likes to have a guide, you'll get that as well. And then all throughout the process, right, the entire health of your collection site, your project manager is going to be available. So you can call them, you can email them and ask them questions, or maybe you need a retraining on something. Just today, I was giving somebody a quick training via email because it was just a quick bulleted list that I needed to send them. We didn't have to have a call about it. And she was like, great, oh my God, thank you so much. I did it, I'm so proud of myself. So that training doesn't end after that 1-hour, you know, session. You've got your support with your project manager. through the entire length of the process.
That's excellent. Thank you, Erin. I imagine that's got to be really reassuring to people, especially right now.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's one. So can I add other activities to the scheduler that are outside
Yep.
the abstract submission?
Yeah, absolutely. We have what is called add generic activity. So right in that same area where you add your submissions, your actual presentations, we have an add generic activity button. So what that's going to be typically is your lunches, your breaks, maybe it's your keynote speakers that don't have a physical submission in the system. But yeah, that's the same area that you can add in those non-presentation or non-submission time blocks. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, great. And it looks like we have one more question that we have not addressed yet. It's how long is Catalyst for? I think what they're saying, how long is the Catalyst license good for?
Oh, well, you will, so what, it's basically a year. So when you are starting off the process, right, we're building your Catalyst collection site. Most of the time you're going to have access to it for a year. That's not saying we don't offer extra time. So that would be something you talk to the sales manager about if you want access longer than a year. But yeah, with that, you still have full event manager access to that collection site for that entire year.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Well, that looks like that just about wraps it up. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, I hope we were able to share a little bit of wisdom in terms of how to save some time during this very important process. And as I mentioned early on, for those of you in attendance, you will get a recorded version of this, hopefully by tomorrow. And it will be available on demand on our website, omnipress.com.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Erin.
right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Okay.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everyone. Have a great day.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.